Hey everybody, before I get started, I want to give a quick shout out to Sasha Lerner, who nailed two huge PRs in track this past weekend in the 55 meter and in the 400 meter. Sasha started coming to us this past June and has worked her butt off, and she's only a junior and she's going to keep killing it, so I will keep you posted, but congratulations, Sasha, well earned. Wanted to go through a couple of questions that I got and a couple of observations. You'll notice in the newsletter, you'll see I attached blood work. So take a look at that blood work. I think it's over the course of like 10 years. This person started doing UTCs, I think, about 3 years ago. So notice how his blood work has changed over the past 3 years. But more importantly, just notice that this is somebody who has nice high HDL, which we want, that's the healthy cholesterol. Notice that his VLDL is nice and low. Notice that his triglycerides are low. Notice that all of the blood markers that matter are low other than LDL. Now, again, just a reminder, LDL comes in all sizes. The ones that are small and dense are the problematic ones. The light buoyant ones are the ones we want. They're desirable. They are what help us make hormones. When LDL is too low, so people that are on cholesterol lowering medication, they suffer a lot of these problems that map onto the creation of hormones. So just because your LDL is high doesn't mean anything unless you look at the whole picture here. And this was just another example of what we've already talked about. So take a look at that blood work. Also take a look at how his D3 levels started going back up to optimal once he started attending UTC seminars. I saw somebody for their 23andMe test this past Thursday that I wanted to talk about because it's important. This is somebody who has been attending UTC seminars, I think, since we started them. So he was already taking his fish oils, he was already taking his magnesium, he was already taking his vitamin D3. But it was cool because he was really happy he came in because one of the problems that he had was for vitamin A. Now, almost every SNP that he had to do with either taking fish oil, magnesium, or vitamin D3. And that's how it is for most people. And that's why we tell people these supplements are what you need to start with. Okay, almost everybody's going to need these three supplements. But he had a particular SNP for vitamin A. Now, this is not an uncommon SNP. In some populations, as many as 50% of the population will have at least one allele, which is the conversion of beta carotene into retinol, which is vitamin A. So if you have two alleles, the conversion is about 80 to 85% reduced. That's a massive reduction. So this is somebody that would really need to supplement with vitamin A. About 10,000 IUs every other day is fine because it's very hard to get enough vitamin A from sources like carrots and pumpkins and squash. Like, these aren't even eggs. It's not easy to get that with somebody that has two alleles for vitamin A. And vitamin A is huge, massively important for your eyes and for immune function, for soft tissue. It's a very important thing. So I'm glad that we found that. And everybody can find out. Just get your 23andMe test and we'll get together for about a half an hour and go through it. Had a couple questions about just overall sort of performance things, and instead of kind of going through each thing, I just want to talk about the basics. The basics. You know what every elite athlete does better than everybody else? They do the basics, and the truth is that they practice the basics every day. I know this for a fact. How do I know this? Because I have been infatuated with amazing athletes and what they do and how they achieve what they achieve. People like Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Larry Bird. If you look, that's just in basketball. If you look at what they do every day, it's the basics, the basics, the basics, the basics. So when it comes to moving your body, what do I see as the basics that are the most important things? Move your neck. Move your neck. You're sitting at your desk, stretch your neck. In the warm-up video, look at what I'm doing with the neck. Move it. You know why? Because all the nerves that are in your arms start at the base of your neck. Your radial and ulnar nerves, you want to be strong. If your neck is jacked up, you're not going to be strong. It's the same thing in your lumbar which we'll talk about right now. If we're not moving our necks and if we're not moving our upper backs, what's going to move instead? The lumbar. And if the lumbar is moving around, it's a quick way to jack up your lower back. If you put into too much flexion, too much extension, if you're twisting it when you're golfing and doing all these things, guess what happens there? Sciatica, weakness, and pain that go down your legs. That's a huge problem. How do we mitigate that? Well, you got to move your upper back, because if your upper back isn't moving, your lower back's going to move. If you're not breathing into your belly, right? So how many seminars have we done about breathing? And we're going to do more in the UTC. It is the most important thing that everybody does wrong. I'm going to say that again. It's the most important thing that everybody does wrong. I see more breathing dysfunction than anything else. And the truth is that unless we take the time to teach people how to do this right, they're just not going to do it. But here's what happens as a basic example. If you don't breathe into your belly, brace your abdomen, and then say if you're doing something overhead, a basic overhead press, you're going to throw your lower back into extension, right? Because your breath is up in your chest. And when you put your back into extension, you're going to hurt your back eventually, right? You're going to make your intercostal muscles up here very, very tight. And if your intercostal muscles get very, very tight, guess what happens? You can't move your thoracic cavity very well. And you should be able to do some basic work in your thoracic cavity. It shouldn't be locked up like a steel cage. So everything is put together in the body in a certain way. And unless we practice these things, then we're in trouble. So all of the warm-up stuff and the warm-up videos, it all has stuff that has neck stuff, upper back stuff, breathing stuff, right? And of course, wrists and ankles. Wrists and ankles, wrists and ankles. Wrists and ankles are easy to fix, right? All you have to do is recognize that we're doing this all day. We're sitting here typing or on steering wheels or on text messages. We need to get the hands into extension, the wrists into extension. We need to turn them over, do some basic flexion waves. Wrists and ankles are hugely, hugely important for keeping the body strong and healthy. And then finally, just in the kitchen, right? What is rule number 1 in the UTC? If it's in your home, you're going to eat it. If it's in your home, you're going to eat it. So if we can't start with the basics, and you go into your own pantry, into the refrigerator or the freezer, if there's stuff there that shouldn't be there, take it out now, because that is the most telling thing about whether or not a person will be successful in terms of losing weight and getting their goals accomplished, okay? So start with the basics and move on from there. Have a good week, everybody.